Welcome back to 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse Special Halloween Extravaganza Edition. And let's go back to 1959, but before we do that, you have to realize that growing up, we were pretty much just exposed on television to, the classic horror stuff, like the Universal stuff, the Monogram stuff. Chiller Theater had a little bit of a handful of stuff that we had never seen before, but somewhere in the early 60s at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Channel 7 started this movie showcase called The Big Show. And every day it had a different theme, like a war movie, a western, and monster movies. And they gave a preview one time, and there was a whole shitload of stuff in there that I had never seen before, never heard of, because, like I said, the monster magazines usually just covered the classic stuff and not so much of the B-movie stuff. So when, they ran all this stuff that basically we had never seen before. The Amazing Colossal Man, The She-Creature, Data World Ended, Teenage Frankenstein, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, Terror from the Year 5000, and something that would really become one of my favorite, low-budget films, Attack of the Giant Leeches in 1959. Now, when this ran on TV, I was like, oh, holy shit, what could this be? And this is one of the films that's an anomaly for a 50s horror movie, or monster movie, rather, because when I was collecting 16mm films, we used to have a running gag that basically it was second reel theater because you wouldn't see the monster until the second reel. Well, Attack of the Giant Leeches opened up with this guy in a swamp, obviously a poacher, coming across this creature and emptying a rifle into it, and then the credits rolled. The film was written by noted character actor Leo Gordon, who was also a really great screenwriter, although a lot of people didn't know that. So anyway, the scene shifts after the credits into this, I guess, local bar market, whatever, run by Dave, played by Bruno V. Soda, and this bunch of motley swamp rats, one of them who's Michael Emmett from Night of the Blood Beast. And Dave is married to Liz, this slutty little bayou chick who has no trouble walking around half naked in front of his friends, and she's got eyes for Cal, played by Michael Emmett. So anyway, the poacher keeps going on and on about seeing this thing and this and that and the other thing and shooting it and never seeing anything like it. Well, Liz gets pissed off and decides to go for a walk, and Gay Morden, played by, I think it's, I don't remember his name, Ken something, and his girlfriend, played by Jan Shepard, are out there, and they hear a horrible scream, and they come upon the first poacher, who's covered with blood, and Liz is standing there over him. Well, Liz wants to now book out of the area, and Dave really doesn't want to hear it, so she goes out with Cal, and they are caught by Dave, who basically chases them into the swamp, firing his shotgun over their heads. Well, once he gets them in water and has them cowering in fear, he relents and tells them, okay, we'll straighten this out, but then all of a sudden, these two huge creatures just drag them underneath. Of course, they figured Dave murdered Liz. The sheriff, played by Gene Roth, has him locked up, but then Dave hangs himself in his cell. So now they put out like a reward for the retrieval of the bodies, and these other two swamp rats go out looking. And they're in this canoe, and they're going through whatever, swamp they are. And one guy remarks to the other guy, he goes, I ain't seen any gators, not even little ones. So one of them starts to freak out and he goes, let's get the hell out of here, when all of a sudden the boat is overturned by the leeches and these guys are dragged into an underwater cave where Liz and Cal are laying there pretty much drained of blood. And this is where it gets a little bit out of hand for a 50s film. They show the leeches sucking on these guys' faces and they pull away and there's visible blood dripping down. Now 4 people have disappeared and nobody knows what to do, so they decide to throw some dynamite charges into the swamp, which dislodges some of the bodies, and you see the bodies float to the top. Liz isn't dead yet, she's cornered by a leech, and finally she floats to the top. So then, of course, there's a battle with one of the frogmen and the leeches, and they basically dynamite the thing and kill the leeches until the end when you see another one pop up. There was never a sequel made to this. I think the original title was Giant Leeches, but then Roger Corman was the executive producer, and I think he put a tack on it. Gene Corman was the real producer on the set, and it was directed by Bernard Kowalski, who's done a lot of TV and other movies. So, actually, this film is public domain, despite what the Wade Williams agency might have to say. It was been public domain for years. It's been released in a bunch of shitty formats, and I'm really hoping that somebody comes across enough elements to put a Blu-ray out. So, like I said, this was one of my favorite films growing up for the sheer audacity of blood-sucking leeches and giant leeches and actually showing visible blood. So, definitely worth a look, definitely worth checking out. So, thanks for subscribing, thanks for tuning in. We'll have more monsters for you tomorrow, so we'll catch you on the flip side. So, until then, stay safe.